Hello everybody, Glitch Reaper here, and yes, I'm out in the middle of the ocean, as you might see. Just a moment, making sure everything is fine. Yeah, for some reason, I also discovered something that's kind of useful for this. I made this little mid-size arena, and I made it out of this Jungle Myrmix resin glass that you can get from Ice and Fire. I'm not entirely sure how in the world you get a hold of it, because it doesn't seem to concern itself with the recipe. So, yeah, also since my audio was going out and I was trying to uh, test it, I turned back on the music for a while. Although I don't need that right now. Thing is, I think one of the mob battles that I did earlier, whenever I was doing some testing, may have crashed the audio. But it's not doing that now, so I'm fine. But anyhow, I was going to do a big run, kind of, with the Sea Serpent and just letting it go against all sorts of stuff and showing how powerful it really is. Because the Sea Serpent was recently added in Ice and Fire, so it may still be slightly work in progress, but just a little. Like there's just a few things it tends to bug out with. But for the most part, it is pretty cool. I mean, this thing has some nice animations and abilities. I mean, seriously, this thing could wreck a good portion of what you see in the sea. Um, but yeah, as for my little discovery earlier, I found out that because a lot of sea creatures technically require spawning on the seafloor, and can't spawn on transparent blocks, the fact that I put glass on the bottom means they're not spawning down here. So isn't that convenient? It means it really is safe for me to do mob battles in this little mini arena. At least things that aren't particularly destructive to other blocks, which shouldn't really come up here. But anyhow, the main feature here will be the Sea Serpent, which is awesome. And what we have to go up against it is the Quetzal Grackle from Lycanites Mobs, which is a rare type of, well, it says it's a pterosaur wyvern, but basically it's a variation of dragon that you may see along the sea. Threshers, which you may also see in the ocean, and they are always big and powerful and a lot more common than the dragons. But the dragons may have the edge in this case. And they are kind of what I recently got one of in my other series, so just showing what that kind of pet slash aquatic mount can do whenever it's just fighting on its own. I got Rayleigh, and he's from the One Piece mod, actually. He's a master of Haki, which is like a special martial arts style that they have there. Or rather, I think that's more the names of the moves. But anyhow, the thing is that he's a pretty good fighter. He has a good amount of defense, some pretty strong offense, and his name sounds like Rayleigh, the city that's classically known in the Sulu mythos, so I had to pop that. Speaking of Sulu mythos, we have lesser Shoggoth because they tend to associate with watery areas like swamps and rivers. And we have Coralus from Advent of Ascension. Yeah, that's right. That mod's back and in 1.12.2, so no, my version number isn't lying. If you hadn't heard me say so before, it's back, and there it is. And I'm going to show what he's like as of the current state of the mod. Of course, we have the Sea Serpent itself, which I'm going to be letting go up against everything. And just in case, maybe later I'll roll a Wither into it. So for now, let's just see how everything goes. I think I'll start off with the let's start out with the Quetzal Well, actually, what we really need to start off with is the Sea Serpents, because one thing I need to show is they have variable stats. That one's an 83, which is not half bad. I've seen bigger, but that is still decently impressive. I think the smallest I've seen is like 50-something, and yeah, it can push you in creative. It can't hurt you in creative, but it can push you in creative, so just saying. So Quetzal Grackle, go for it. And see, it actually can grab things. And it can deal like continuous damage for a while. And right now they're really hammering each other fast. I mean, that grab attack was pretty cool. But it deals a ton of damage every hit, like 15 plus. And this isn't even the limit of its abilities, because there's some other things it can do, mainly underwater. This one still has like 50 HP left, and I'm curious if it can survive a Thresher at that level. So let's go for that. Wow, it throttled the Thresher. How fast was that? Like, Ouch. That was quick. Okay. The Thresher just can't take it. So, let me go along the seafloor here. I might want to get a new Sea Serpent this time. Yes, they will go away on peaceful. So, in case you need to know for such times that one will thoroughly ruin your day, or you just need to reset them for something like this, remember that. Now, the next guy, he's kind of Rayleigh himself. He's not entirely a landlubber, but he does tend to like the shoreline. So, because yeah, he has sea legs, not sea fins. So let's let the serpent go. Oh, that's a small one. That was a tiny one. That was an itty bitty one, and he throttled it. I could go for a couple more just to see how that goes, because he barely took any damage. And yeah, I know this is going to be a little outside the arena. Okay, that one's a 65 HP Sea Serpent. And he has given it the finger guns. Wow, it's hard to even track their speed. Especially the Sea Serpent, which is just going everywhere like a giant torpedo. And he throttled that one too. You, sir, are a master even when you're just kind of floating there. And seriously, one more? Just guys. You gotta appreciate that jump deck. Whee! Sometimes it does twists in the air. It's like an angry dolphin. And now when it does that kind of run, it can really throttle something. Okay, see, it took more than one to take that guy down because he was so powerful. But watch what this thing does in the water for a moment. It has a bubble beam. I mean, seriously, it just bubbles things really fast. That Roa does not stand a chance, just saying. And that one is probably going to be gone now. So let's ignore the fact that there's a Sea Serpent running loose. And go for something entirely different. But yeah, this guy, he really carried against it. He's tough. He might show up again at some point. Of course, so can some of these other things, like the Quetzaldracls. They're pretty cool. It dealt a lot of damage before it went down. And the Thresher, I think it could have done a lot better. Preferably if, like, the situation was a little bit different. Like, if I had put the Thresher out first and put the Sea Serpent close to the water at the surface, then the Thresher will do that sometimes and throw things around. So you can see it can be situational, but the Thresher still doesn't make it. And now we have giant Sea Serpent. Well, that way I guess I'll just introduce you to the Shoggoth. Okay, Shoggoth, I'm going to give you a little distance first because you might want to do better at range. Then again, maybe not. Okay. Their hitboxes is so weird right now. It's ranging the tail. Okay. Didn't see that coming. Also, the Sea Serpent seems to have beached itself on the glass. Okay, maybe I should just give it a push. Of course, to be fair, I think it would have jumped on the land anyhow. But let's just let it free. Okay, it can take down a lesser Shoggoth if it can actually move in the water. Okay, it can actually move on land to a degree. It just didn't know how to deal with the Shoggoth when it was, like, right in its face. What is it doing? It's patrolling. It's patrolling the edge. It's like, no, I'm just... Oh, yeah. Is it gonna... Nope, it went back to the water, but it took a good length of time to get there. Seriously. What's this thing thinking? And now we have another one that's just on the loose, roaming free, doing things. I think I want to do that again, though, just to see, like what would happen if they were both on the land. Like, over time, would the Shoggoth be able to win? So I'm going to go ahead and just spawn it there, because I know that they can be perfectly fine like that. Wait, nope, it leaped out and beached itself. And I think they have variable attack like this, too. Like, I think the bigger they are, the more attack power they have. Okay, now we're seeing the ranging of the tail again. But will it actually be able to do this the whole time? Can it take it down in this fashion? Because I'm kind of curious if the Sea Serpent will ever figure out what else to do. Because right now it's kind of got its head stuck in a Shoggoth. Wait, now they're moving for a moment. Oh, come on, Sea Serpent, you were doing so. Your kind were doing so well before. It's now this Shoggoth just has you confused. Well, to be perfectly fair, it looks like it's using a grapple, but it's not exactly. It's just kind of oozing there. And in case you're wondering, yes, this is the newer lesser Shoggoth model. It was recently improved, partially because somebody helped out Shino with this. I believe his name was Cybercat5555. So this model by him, and he's been helping out a lot recently with Abyssalcraft, with making cool new models and at helping to get some stuff in. So it's not just been Instrument of Doom contributing. Shino does have other fans that are willing to help him out with some modeling and/or programming. So hence Abyssalcraft progress. But yeah, so far the highly amphibious Shoggoth is taking out the not quite as amphibious Sea Serpent. So this one is situational. If the Sea Serpent beaches itself and gets itself stuck on land, then it might not be able to attack the lesser Shoggoth anymore. But if it's in the water, then as long as the lesser Shoggoth is reachable in some way, whether or not it's in the water, it will throttle it. So this one isn't exactly a 50-50, but it is, however, variable. And the Shoggoth is now officially trying to break my arena. That was a very precise shot. Like, the moment I did... Oh, what? Hey, revenge! The other... Well, that was unexpected. The one from before came in to say, hey, I'm not going to let you embarrass yourself like that. Okay, that was funny. I know for a fact that the lesser Shoggoth would have gradually won in that situation, but it's just funny that the other one's like, no, I'm not letting you take that loss. In the name of the Sea Serpents, I shall make sure that you do not fall. That was just awesome. He just came in with a save, like, ah! I mean, really. Oh my gosh, that was just silly level funny. Okay. Oh. Down here too. I guess I forgot those acid shots could reach that far underwater. I guess I don't know if they're affected by the properties of water with projectiles in general, but maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Now for this next one, I definitely want to get a big one. Oh, that'd be big enough. But at the same time, I kind of like to hold out for one that's over 100. Oh, there we go. Now we have one that's over 100. Of course. Wondering how to get rid of Sea Serpents? I just toss them out. I'm just separating them. Oh, they're pushing me in creative again. Which one's that? Oh, that's the big one. I don't want him gotten rid of. I want to keep him. Their hitbox is weird. And they like to throw you around. Okay. I have a slight gravity gun problem. Okay, maybe I should just clear them out. Maybe I'll just get lucky. Maybe I just go for one that's... Oh! I was really lucky. 105. That's close to the biggest I've seen so far. So now I'll spawn in Coralus and see how this goes, because I want to be as big as possible, because Coralus has a ton of HP, but I, in testing, saw at least one of these take down a huge amount of it. So, oh, I hadn't seen that roar before. Nice. Okay, so let's see what happens when they get to this really big fight. So, yep, that's what messed up the audio before. Now I know it was definitely the boss fight. Somehow, like, the fact that it doesn't have its custom music is causing it to have issues. But meanwhile, this Sea Serpent is just going to town. He's like, let's just whoonk. He's like, yeah, let's just whoonk them. He's just like, whoa, gosh, that is acrobatic. Did it take a hit back? Okay, it's taken some hits back. So it's not just been one way in the most incredible way possible. Where this thing with, like, barely over 100 HP is just pummeling this more than like nearly 2,000 HP boss. Gosh, this thing is just one vicious. I mean, seriously. Of course, I think it comes down to the fact that Coralus doesn't really have a humongous defense. Okay, it's just flopping at him. It's going, I'm just going to do the wave. That's all I'm going to do is do the wave. Oh, wow, he came down hard. So he may have given it quite a thump there. But it is just chewing on him. Oh my gosh, he's down by more than half. Like, seriously. He took it out, but just look at how injured he is. That is how much damage a admittedly impressively large sea serpent could do. It's so basically something that's kind of like a mini boss has walloped a big boss. Hard. Didn't take him down, but took him so far down it was almost there. Like, it really just take 2 sea serpents to take this guy down. Because if I just threw in one more, he would be out of it. So, yeah. Oh, Mr. Fantastic Coralus, you've been taken down a notch right there. And to show a few something else, let me first get this guy out. Yeah, so I'm going to reset that. But what I want to show is, first of all, we know that how some of these other things went, with this guy pulling it off pretty hard. I mean, I don't know if there's like one big enough to get past the fact that Rayleigh has a ton of defense and really good offense. Like, I don't think there's like a single size of Sea Serpent that can take him down. And yet, well, so let's show kind of how this really matches up. Because this guy versus Coralus will show you that we got quite an interesting little thing going on here. Because that guy can take down a Sea Serpent. Oh yeah, I might actually need to do this. But the Sea Serpent is also ridiculously aggressive. Okay, in this case, he's still dealing a lot of damage, but he took a lot more. So it's got, in fact, Coralus seems to be pretty good right now. So that's how easy he takes down that guy compared to taking down a Sea Serpent. So again, you got a lot of factors. So Sea Serpents are just fantastic in the water, and even out of it, they can still deal a lot of damage. So there's a bit of a comparison with how well that happened. But now let's go the Wither route. So I'll make myself a Wither here and show that off against Coralus. So this is going to show by comparison that like how far down he gets with a Wither compared with how far down he gets with a Sea Serpent. Because remember, he was more than half down by that Sea Serpent. So you can see the proportion after the Wither engages. And yeah, the audio gets a little weird now because just I have Coralus and he does something to the audio once you have something engage him. So that is just bizarre. In fact, I might want to temporarily turn off the audio, like completely, because that is just weird. So let's just let that, let's just silently watch as the two fight here. And yes, he can reach a wither, because he will jump up and hit it. So this is not one way, despite the fact that the wither has flight, because he has jump. And there he goes again and hit it hard. But the wither isn't down by half yet. And as long as that's true, it won't descend and it won't gain its immunity to arrows. So, you know, standard wither rules here. Okay, he leap smashed it again. So he went in for a good one. Right now, he's just down by a bit, but yeah, it's not as impressively fast as the Sea Serpent was going. I mean, seriously, the damage they dealt was ridiculous. So that's certainly saying beware of Sea Serpents. And for that matter, some other aquatic bosses like this guy, but the Sea Serpent may way more than you'd think, because they can randomly appear. That's part of the point. So just like a really rare aquatic spawn that apparently has a ranged, like, bubble beam type thing, and some serious moves. So they will bite, and they will bite hard, and often, and quickly, and possibly with a complete twist in the air. So they will do acrobatics for you, all to kick you to the curb. See, how's the wither doing? It's not quite down to half yet. One more leap smash. Yep, there we go. Now, here's what happens in this case. Once the wither descends, the fact that he deals very heavy melee damage quickly comes in and he finishes it off pretty fast. But at what point will he be? He is not even down by half from a wither. He was down by way more than half due to a sea serpent. So if you want to gauge by another boss, that's how you do it. And he has definitely shown that the sea serpent can just nail things hard just by using him as a gauge. But the other way around also gets kind of funny. I'll clear out all the enemies here for a moment. But yeah, it's also interesting what your reward is for the Sea Serpent, technically. It allows you to craft special arrows that are not affected by water. So there's a thought. So I'm going to engage a wither again, this time with a Sea Serpent. You can see the total difference of how fast... Well, actually, let me do multiple here, unless I get a big one. Well, that one's fairly big, but not as big. And yeah, the audio will remain bad for a while. The wither totally skipped him. Oh my gosh. Well, it'll get there. It'll get there. They're both super aggressive. They'll find each other. But now, this one's beached. It can't really do the crazy flip hit that it needed to do to hit back against the wither. So, let me pop another one in the water here. So I want to show this better, where they can actually fight each other. But the wither is just deciding to just stay above land, and the sea serpent is deciding to jump onto it for some reason, where it gets itself stuck and unable to do its flip smash to the wither. So it is just brutally pounding the sea serpents. But again, I can throw in more. I just want to see one that doesn't beach itself. Just one would be nice. One that realizes that to do that maneuver is a very bad decision. But so far, it's not happening. Although over time, eventually the wither will create a canal. So that's kind of an interesting issue with this. Okay, now they're over the water. That's what I wanted to see to finale this. Also note that it just smashed those squid hard, and is an area attack. That leap smash is an area strike. The wither's descending, and the sea serpent is ascending. We have a complete opposite pairing here. Oh, it had progressed so far down in health that they took each other out. Okay, that was interesting. Well, to be perfectly fair, the Sea Serpent does deal pretty high damage, and I was just linking one after the other, so that had to happen. It had to happen. I was going to try to find a way to get the model to Bea in on this, but it's kind of tricky finding them. You can't just directly spawn them in. I mean, you kind of can, kind of can't, and even if you do, they don't have the same stats as they do in the wild, so maybe at some point I'll find a model of Bea that seems about right and then do it. But for now, I guess I'll just have to wait for being like a random event because, again, they just only come in when they come in. Okay, but with that, I guess I'll just leave out. But I was able to show off what the Sea Serpent can do and the fact that it's a pretty powerful fighter, actually. Like, seriously, some of the things it could take down were actually pretty impressive, and it's not always the way you'd think it would go. I mean, in the end, it also showed that Coralus was a pretty powerful boss, but the Sea Serpent was the main thing here. I just really wanted to show off its cool attack style, its agility, the fact that it just deals so much damage. Well, whenever it's in melee, anyhow. I mean, seriously, that beam was a tad slow, but it was very cool. The thing is that I just really was feeling the Sea Serpents here, so yeah, and maybe there'll be more of this one in the future, especially with some other aquatic bosses. And by the way, I found out that even using the mob battle stick, thing is, Elder Guardians always go one way because they just tend to forget their target. So yeah, it always just got smashed by the Sea Serpent. So if you're wondering if they're stronger than Elder Guardian, the answer is right now definitely yes. But whenever Engender gets in 1.12.2, I would definitely like to kind of see if I can make up with that with its version, which has much better attack dynamic. Well, much better attacking AI. They should be able to actually engage right. So yeah, then we'll really know how that one would go. But for now, we'll just have to wait for some more aquatic mob battles because not all of them will line up quite as well. And admittedly, I had to go a little outside the arena a few times. But some of them managed to stay in. Well, oh well. For now, this has been Glitch Reaper. I'll be logging off. Hope to hear from you all later, and bye for now, everybody.